So, this is Local 88, and I'm here to talk about the cuts that WWE made this month, as some of you would like to call a spring cleaning, as they always seem some to be the case, like right around this time of year. I think the only year when, because this spring cleaning WWE seems to be the norm the last few years. After WrestleMania, gosh, like in the pandemic, they call about, gosh, how, I don't know how many people, like, I can't even number how they fired so many people because it was a lot that they cut people. Like, and that was during 2020. That was when the pandemic was in full effect. Back in 2020, and then like I even remember the next year, 2021, they cut like 70 people in total that year. Good lord, there's not as much, but even 2025, you can kind of see they caught some plenty of people this year. And they caught a few in like February, and now they caught plenty of people here. And like, just to get out of the way, you never want to see either yourself or anyone else lose their job. I don't care where you are or whatever you do around this world. You never wish someone to get fired unless they do something really shitty. You never want to see someone lose their job like that. You never want to see, especially when they got family to support, uh, needs to some like mouths to feed. Like, you never want to see someone lose their job, especially in yourself if you're working at a job. You never want to feel that way. Where if you feel you're getting caught, you never want to feel it. So when you see cuts like this that WWE makes, it's always gonna suck. It's always gonna suck because this is, especially for that roster, that locker room. Like, some of these people that you saw got released this month, those people are probably the locker room they see the most around whenever they go around and travel the world, go and go on the road like every night of the week. Those people are probably the most that the locker room sees it every week, like 2 times a week if need to be. So it sucks for them just having to go through that, and it sucks for the fans that are fans of some of the people that I got. So yeah, it sucks for that aspect, but this is something you kinda need to do when you have a bloated roster. And I feel like WWE are having the tendency now of bloating a lot of people with their roster. Now, like, AEW was notorious, like in their early years, like 2021, 2022, 2023, 23. 3-ish. Like their roster got so bloated back then. But it kind of still is a roster AEW. So WWE is kind of having the luxury of having almost too many people that when you sign new people and you want to feature them, you want to get a push, you kind of have to cut some weight on that roster. So I understand for that aspect. But yeah, let's go. I will go through some names that shock me, that sadden me, that bother me, that didn't surprise me the least. So, and the trend of those releases seems to be revolving around women. They cut. There are plenty of women in the past releases that they cut. And that seems to be due to them bringing in new talent on the main roster and potentially even NXT, I think. So they so they weren't going to have so much space on that roster, or that woman's roster. So yeah. So let's start out with the two names that I first check when those releases happened. The first two names that I saw was like the first was Dakota Kai, and yeah, that kind of saddened me. That pretty much saddened me. Like this one was an unfortunate in the sense of she never really got to do her play on the main roster. Like she was never really given a full chance. Like even with all the time off and the injuries she's got, and that's I think partially in their minds why they cut someone like her. Like the age state that I saw by some people, even like Dave Meltzer's speculating like that. It's such a BS fed line that if I ever saw it, like the fucking WWE champion right now is 48. And you gotta tell me they cut the card because she's like 37? Like, come on. That's so fucking ridiculous. It's nonsense. Okay, maybe they do not want to pay her on the makeup, but like, first off, like, like, don't then just give her a shot to see what she can do. If she fails at one night, then okay, but just give her a chance. They never gave it to them, and like, also like, if that's the case, if they don't want to pay her to be just a maker, then how's that maker going to be in a few years if they do stuff like this? All the build people, you gotta have to go through the maker. So yeah, like thinking of that mindset, like how do you want, like how do you not want to make art? Like that's just so ass backwards and nonsense. Like yeah, so yeah, it never really felt like they gave her a shot, and like it just sucks that this release. It pretty sad in me. Like that that release of the color Kai. I know she's going. I'm going to talk about more, but I know she's going to kill it elsewhere. Like if she by the title's 90 days expired, like I know she's going to kill it elsewhere, and yeah, and I thought that was always gonna she was gonna be that loser. So I get why they think they they don't want to like bother using her like anymore because she was gonna have a low ceiling compared to the top woman in the company right now. But yeah, I get it, I get for that aspect, but yeah, you you like you. I don't even know what to say. Like this, it's sad. This really saddened me because they never gave her a real shot on the main roster. And I know the injuries, the time offs, like I said, kind of play into that. Probably that's why. But you had this girl on TV competing in the tournament for your mid card women's title, and and she, and you put her on TV for a little bit, and she's starting to get some nightmare, and then you don't use her, and then you cut her. Yeah, that's kind of sad. Next up is Braun Strowman. Now, this is what really surprised me. I really did. And I guess kind of fortunate to because the dude, when you saw him walk around these past few months, like his knees were hanging by a thread. So, and it's said to be why they caught him because he was so banged on by injuries and stuff. Like they weren't sure how much they could keep him for much long. And and I get that, but again, kind of sucks because I think he was a great foil for the monsters that he elevated throughout the past few months, like Bronson Reed and now Jacob Fatu. Like those were the two names that he specifically like elevated to to upper mid card status in this company. Like Braun Strowman made those two guys in Bronson and Jacob. So yeah, so it's kind of fortunate that they don't have that. And I always thought he was kind of a good hand you you kind of can use to make other people to stars. So yeah, that's part of it's kind of unfortunate, but I get it. Like the dude was hanging, like his knees were like I said hanging on for dear life. So I get that why did the they did decide to cut him. So yeah, but it's kind of unfortunate also because the dude was doing pretty well for his this second run, and that also the salary raise again, like the aging factor with the coach. I did the salary factor is again such BS because that was described the last time he got cut in 2021. I think was because of the high salary, and yeah, they always try to make up stuff. And I think the company does make up some things that they make you see why they did for there's probably a deeper reason why they did. So yeah, kind of forced. Another patch they cut was Katana Shins and Caden Carter. This releases honestly bother me more than anybody in those other people that got caught. Bothered more than honestly the first two that I just mentioned. Because the two that I mentioned you I could kinda see and the rest of the people I can't, but like this bothered me because like they are literally the best women's tag team wrestlers in that entire tag team women's division. If you even call the division, because it's basically almost non-existent. Like one half of the fucking women's tag team champion is off somewhere filming a movie. Like and and you cut a viable women's tag team on top of that. Like and like and I know say, oh, why they don't call a women's tag team? Like people, you don't realize by saying those things, you just giving them, giving the company just to be kind of be complacent to comes to the women's statue division. Like you don't want them to be competent with the women's stat division, and you just rather be complacent. Like, like, what do you even gain from that? I want to say. Like, what do you even gain for removing those titles at this point? Because all what you're doing is giving them even more play to be complacent. It's all what you're doing. So yeah, this release kind of shocked me and baffled me. Because you cut your best women's tag team in a division that desperately needs tag teams like that. Good lord. Next up is Cora Jade. I knew the second that Ross and Julia randomly showed up as like a tag team on the World Ultimate, I knew something had to be up with her. Because it was Roxanne that was paired with Cora the most on TV in the weeks leading up to Stand the Live. So, yeah. And this one is like I don't think she impressed me much in the ring, so I'm not too hard about, but again, I do hope she kills it out there whenever she can on the whatever indie days they give her. Like I hope they can make some really, she can make some really good bank for herself, and I think might be a blessing disguise for her because now like she can really her her on the NBC and see like maybe WWE's interested in a few years. Maybe they will call up on her one day. So it might be a blast, but yeah, like it's kind of sucky how like they just she was like basically threw up the side like that. But again, I I don't think she ever been impressive to me in the ring. Like when she's in tactics, she's kinda okay, but I don't find her to be an interesting solo wrestler. So there's that. But I hope, like I said, she made some really good money on the indies, and I hope she really hold her own and work on her work on the grind on that scene, and maybe WWE can call for her again one day. So yeah. Uh, Next up is Jakara Jackson. That was one half of metaphor that just I don't know where got was split up. And yeah, this won't sadden me only because I had a sniff of feel of what they might do. And like even like with Metaphor where she was with Last Legend, she had a mini run on the main roster like late last year. And it was obvious from the get go they do not trust her in the ring. Like it was very obvious. Like it was a Lash Legend that did all the work of that team in the like in ring was. It was always like this that they put a spotlight on her. Like Lash Legend was in the Women's Royal Rumble this year, and Jakara didn't. That should pretty much tell you what they thought of her. And that metaphor splitting up the way they did on 3 days before this should kind of give you an indication. But yeah, it saddened. It saddened me because again with Dakota, she was never truly given a chance. So they never even tried it with her, and that's pretty suck. And I hope when those indie days come up for her, she can prove WWE wrong for why they released. So yeah, that pretty saddened me. And then you got like Gigi Dolin and Shashi that did not get released for her contract. They told WWE told they will not renew the contract. But I want to mention Gigi and Shash as they were part of Chemical S. And again, it's like, and I thought they were kind of make a good case for them being attached with them and tandem on NXT. They could make a pretty case for a good tag team on main roster. And again, that main roster women's tag team division could use a tag team like them. And again, they don't really want to use them. And Gigi Dolin, like, has always been unfortunate again because she never really got to a certain level where she could have like been to a main roster. She was always stuck on being that level of to where she got on NXT. And again, like I thought it was always gonna be a low ceiling for her. So yeah, and almost Shashi's a weird one because it's like they cut. It's like I I think injuries might play a part of that, but I thought pretty made a she pretty made a good case for herself for being a solid mid call on that division. Just I don't know. It's one of those departures where it's like I get why, but I don't know why they couldn't make use more of her. So yeah, and also the same with Jade. And like they also cut Riley Osborne. I haven't seen too much of his work to comment on that, but I hope he does make a good case for himself on the indie scene. And they cut the whole fashion of gathering. So there's that, but I haven't been that impressed by them in the ring, so not gonna comment too much. Um, Next up was Eddie Thorpe, and this was kind of a surprise with how much, like late last year, how much he was pretty featured heavily, even early on. Like I remember the skit where she accidentally attacked Ava on the NSD on her locker room like months ago, and then kind of had a mini main event push where he was put in NXT title match. I think he beat Trick Williams. I think on a special PLE on NXT, if I remember correctly. Then he got a pin on him, man. They didn't know what to do with him afterwards, and then he got cut. Really fucking strange, if you ask me. This one was kind of like, huh. But it wasn't like I was amazed by it, but it's kind of weird how they seem to make an effort to push it, and then until they did it, and they got rid of it. So yeah. The next final name of this, Shayna Baszler, and yeah, like like early on the main roster, like they pretty much screwed up the push with her, like almost immediately. Like she was made a pretty good case for her push back in 2020. Then she lost the recognition and then went absolutely fucking nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And the age factor again probably playing a part of her release because they really weren't doing much with her. But again, your fucking WWE champion is fucking 48. And you tell me they don't want to use Masha Shayna because she's old. They didn't want to use her because they don't want to pay her to be exactly where she is at right now. Exactly where she was at that company. That's pretty much was all this with some of these releases, honestly. But yeah, I don't think she done. The Shane is a weird case. I thought she kind of regressed somewhat in the ring. I don't think she was anything spectacular. But then it's like after years of not doing much with her, why bother putting the work? I'm just maybe I'm going too crazy on that, but yeah, like she got a mini push when she was working with Ronda Rousey. They had tag team title one day. They had a few of that match at SummerSlam, which completely killed the crowd dead at that show at SummerSlam 2023, I think. So that's that's probably how. And I think that's probably then where they didn't want to push her anymore, so they just stuck her in tag team limit with Zoe Stark, and then she got involved with Sonya Deville to call Pure Fusion Collective. They got some features spotlight in some way, but they never amount to anything, and now she's released. Just like her former teammate Sonya Deville. So yeah, but in a light of those releases, it sucks for them, but I think it could be a blessing for most of them because you saw how with some releases it could be a make or break, and like when they when with Drew and Cody and Matt Cardona got out of WWE and they went on the in how they reinvented the work pretty much almost immediately after they got well Cody quit himself, but you know what I mean. How they pretty much reinvented their work as a character performer in ring. Like their career shot up to another level when they hit on the indie scene, and you look at the cases with Drew and Cody when they left, how they came back much bigger stars now. Like it can show you that releases that leaving WWE can be a blessing because you can make good money elsewhere on the indies and elsewhere and else and many other companies as well invest. So yeah, so I hope all their best in their I don't want to say future in there because that sounds so fucking cheap. But I hope they do all well in their endeavors elsewhere, and I hope some of them can prove WWE wrong here. And maybe they find some success over there. Maybe they can call WWE can call some of those people to come back. Just saying. So there's that for my thoughts on WWE releases. Like this video if you haven't, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about the past of WWE releasing the spring clean in the comment section below. And as always, I'm Jason Maenius, and I approve this mess.